Well, Vaughn, how did that Nobel Peace Prize work out for DJT?
It worked out that he got banned from the Nobel Peace Prize committee because it's just not given. And it also cost Machado of Venezuela, too, to have to give that $10 million prize. It really teaches you something today. Ass kissing does not work. It doesn't work with a malignant narcissist as president, and it doesn't work at the job as associate. It don't work anywhere.
And this is what's crazy. Why would you give him your Nobel Prize after everything that all the labels and that he's under, from the felon to a what?
To a malignant narcissist, to a child sex trafficker. And this guy is way worse than just a felon. He's beyond just a felon. He is a child sex trafficker. That's who he is. And he killed puppies and he killed children. He is a child sex trafficker and he's a murderer. That's who DJT is.
Well, we have to say allegedly because we haven't seen any evidence of the murdering part. But I tell you what they can do is they can go over to Substack and look at the interview of Sasha Raleigh, and under that interview, Sasha Raleigh talks about.
He talks about people like Lindsey Graham, Clarence Thomas, Jim Jordan that was there. Also Representative Andy Biggs that's likely running for governor in Arizona. Of all the people that were involved in child sex trafficking. And you're going to be kissing the ass of a child sex predator.
But the title was Boys Are Hard to Find. And I know a lot of people, I haven't seen it that much out there, but I did see it on Substack, and we absolutely read and did listen to the tapes. So my advice is that of all the things that's going on, that's taking place, and, all the chaos and the destruction, it is a deterrent from.
It's a deterrent from being held accountable in the Epstein files, which turns out that Jeffrey Epstein was the guy that actually was doing the management, that the real head of the sex trafficker, the real head was DJT, that we just elected ahead of the child predator as president of the United States.
Now, we don't have no actual evidence of that. That's only what we listened to on the tapes. That's why I'm saying.
The people like Jim Jordan,
people like
Lindsey Graham, that's a war dog that he advocates for a war that he never want to stay out of. Lindsey Graham and his fantasies, and my favorite justice that is a disgrace to Thurgood Marshall's legacy, Clarence Thomas.
Now, this is what's surprising, and we'll get back to Machado giving up her
ass kissing.
Yeah. If you have all this information, and it's a lot of information out there, and it's a lot of information that hasn't been put out, why would you want to cozy up to a person like DJT, and you've already ousted a person that you thought was bad for your government, which.
Yeah, the bad for you got President Nicolas Maduro of Venezuela, which is for drug trafficking, which was not true. Okay? They used the same excuse as Saddam Hussein in the Iraq War. And I'll be talking more about that later in my Saddam Hussein.
So you're gonna give up a prize that was granted to you, that you worked for, to give it up to somebody that's not credible.
That's a child sex trafficker.
And then get it taken away.
And then get it taken away. Give it up $10 million in the Nobel Peace Prize. Banned from the Nobel Peace Prize for what? So you can get back your power as Venezuela's president?
She should never have been the president.
Never been the president, even though she was elected and was stolen by Nicolas Maduro. I'm not defending President Maduro. I think President Maduro is a scumbag, and I think DJT and Nicolas Maduro deserve each other, to be honest.
Okay. So, didn't they say, and because, we're going back and forth with um, the award, and we don't want to go too far from the Epstein files, that all of this is taking place because of the Epstein files?
They're taking it place as what they call the wag the dog theory, okay? In the wag the dog theory, when you're getting in trouble into scandals, they would start a war just to distract from a major scandal from the administration. It's a wag the dog theory, but 30 times worse than wag the dog. If you look at that movie Wag the Dog, they were talking about adult scandal, okay? This is worse than wag the dog. Way worse.
And how you think, with everything that's going on from Venezuela and the vice president giving up her award, how does she look on the world stage?
She looks like an ass kisser that's way worse. No respect whatsoever. None.
And the people that give out the award jumped in, and what did they do?
They banned her. They just said that they cannot be changed. You could give them that reward, but it cannot be changed. And she was banned from the Nobel Peace Prize and lost $10 million. That really shows you that ass kissing does not work. Because if you're kissing ass to a child sex predator or a malignant narcissist or any boss at your job, you are never going to be trusted, okay? As a matter of fact, you're not going to get your reward. As a matter of fact, the ass kisser is going to be the first one to be thrown under that bus.
Or the first one out.
They're going to be the first one out that door. You're expendable, like Gorgeous George in the movie Boondock Saints 2. You're Gorgeous George.
And what did Gorgeous George do?
Gorgeous George was one of those guys that was not accepted. He was trying to be accepted, but he was half Italian, half Russian, and he was not accepted. He didn't have no information for the Saints because he was not accepted. Because he was half Russian and half Italian.
Okay. So, since we found out that ass kissing doesn't work, well, we also found out that in the going back of the award that was given, now he still doesn't have
the Nobel Peace Prize, and he is never going to get a Nobel Peace Prize. A Nobel Peace Prize for what? For being a child sex trafficker?
Okay, but what's really strange is, why would you take an award
that you earned by yourself when you advocated for the freedom against another dictator and President Nicolas Maduro and give it to a right-wing fascist?
But one thing that I think is really key is that the person that gave him an award is an immigrant.
Is an immigrant.
Yeah, there's a sense?
It makes no sense. I cannot make sense of it. I'm not going to try to make sense of it. I'm just not going to try to make any sense of it at all.
But the majority of the people in the cabinet are what? Immigrants.
Are immigrants. Are immigrants. They are immigrants unless if you're Indian or Hispanic or Native American Indian, we all belong to outside immigrants. Like Texas was a Hispanic territory, okay? Texas, California, New Mexico, that they're not illegal immigrants. That was their home that was stolen during the Mexican War under the Monroe Doctrine.
Well,
So if you really think about it, a lot of those Mexicans that are coming across the border, that's their home, to be honest. And they want their home back.
So, when you put a tag or stereotype someone, what happens? What happens with mass incarceration?
What happens with mass incarceration is that you destroy families for generations. That's what you did. That was what happened with black men, and then have the gall to blame black men for the fathers being homeless. for fathers leaving their child at home or something like that. If you look at the average statistics, black men are actually more involved in the child's life if there was not a system against them in the first place.
Well, but now that all the chaos and destruction that we're under, the most terrible act was taking Nicholas Machado.
Yeah, Nicholas Machado kidnapped him, which was an act of war. This was a war crime, an act of war. And kidnapping him, saying that, oh, he's a drug trafficker, when DJT and a child sex predator, head of a child trafficking network, was the one that pardoned the biggest drug dealer of the former president of Honduras.
And then just going out and blowing up those boats
without any due process.
So what does that say about
that? What constitutes in that distraction, the wag the dog theory, is it constitutes a war crime. That is Hague behavior. That's what he has done. He is not only he is a war criminal and a child predator and a child trafficker.
Well, millions of people seem to miss the word felon. Because
he's worse than a felon. He's way worse than that, because other felons do not like child rapists and child predators at all. Because if you are convicted of child trafficking or child predators, you know what other felons and other prisoners do? They take it personally and they kill him. Look what happened to Jeffrey Dahmer.
Okay.
Look what happened to John Wayne Gacy when he went to jail for the high crimes of killing and raping a child.
But raping, sweetheart. I know that's hard, because I couldn't catch it the first time because you was gone. You said it, but I know it.
They will kill you. It is death on sight. Certain crimes are so bad, it's like death on sight. Another example is Nicholas Cruz with the Parkland shooting. You know what the gang members and Haitian gang members did to Nicholas Cruz? Nicholas Cruz cannot even go outside the yard, because you know what they did? Death on sight.
Well,
for the killing of the Parkland students.
Well, and all these people that you name, these are what? Terrorists.
These are terrorists. These are bad guys themselves.
But excuse me, I didn't mean to cut you off. But you named, who did you name? You named Cruz.
Nicholas Cruz.
You named
Jeffrey Dahmer. John Wayne Gacy.
And isn't it strange that the young lady that got killed was labeled as a terrorist?
As a terrorist, Renee Good.
And she's not a terrorist.
She's not a terrorist. She had children. And it's the same thing with Mr. Porter that was also killed by ICE. And then the ICE that was...
Let's go back. Say his name again.
Kevin Porter.
And they didn't really put that out there.
Because it's supposed to be black people that's supposed to be dead by law enforcement, not a white woman.
Oh, but they broke a big rule, and that rule is coming up.
That big rule is coming up, which is you never kill another white woman. And ICE even said, you're no fun because you're a white person. They want to intimidate.
I just told the guy that.
Yeah, guy that.
Some days ago.
Yes. That's ICE, yep.
But the bottom line here is, and we're going to go back to our topic of the what?
Of the Epstein files, which is Jeffrey Epstein may not even been the guy head of child predator. It was DJT all along.
Well, that being said, we started out with what?
With Maria Machado in Venezuela, that was like the Saddam Hussein And Maria, no, she is the Ahmed Chalabi. You remember Ahmed Chalabi when they were talking about sending U.S. troops to get rid of Saddam Hussein?
Yes.
She is the Ahmed Chalabi, female version of the Ahmed Chalabi, the South American version of Ahmed Chalabi.
Well, we're saying this because that was a prime time example of her thinking she could get what she wants.
Which is as Venezuelan president, but here's the thing: she's not going to get the Venezuelan president. She's not going to get the support of the people, and she's not going to get the support of the administration because they left the vice president of Venezuela, which was a Chachanisa, the vice president to Nicolas Maduro as president of Venezuela, to just say, if you don't do as I say, we can invade Venezuela and take the oil.
Well,
And
like you said, ass kissing doesn't get what you want, and you lose all your integrity.
you lose all your integrity.
But also, it reflects on
It reflects on yourself.
all the people, from the attorneys to mainstream media, legacy media,
Big law.
big law, how they gave up what?
How they gave up their power. How they gave up their power and their integrity to kiss for being the biggest ass kissers. And instead of $14 million they only made $12 million. They thought about the mighty dollar. The money is supposed to be a servant. It's not supposed to be your master.
So, on that note, give me your final point. And on ass kissers, don't what?
My final point is don't be a Maria Machado. Don't be an ass kisser at your job either, because the ass kissers are the first ones that are going to be thrown under the bus. You showing that loyalty to that person, which is a one-way street, will lose you your job, your family, your integrity, your self-respect, and your relationships. You could end up going to jail like Michael Cohen. You could end up going to prison and losing your family and your friends and your family. If you're ass kissing, and you're never going to be trusted by other colleagues again. Ever.
And all the law firms.
And all the law firms and all the people that bent the knee to a child sex trafficker, as DJT is, you will never be looked at as the same again. You might as well just close up shop.
Yeah.
You might as well just close up shop right now, because I would never come to you or recommend your service, because you can sold me out or sell your clients out at any moment for your master, which is not supposed to be your master, money.
Well, and all that said, as Kamala Harris said, the surprising thing that she didn't think that the people would bend the knee as quick as they did. And that really took her back. And we've had a lot of ass kissing across the way.
The ass kiss from Speaker Grinder Mike Johnson
to the administration of what?
To Robert F. Kennedy Jr., to Marco Rubio, which had no principles at all and is a traitor to the Hispanic community. And that's why people like Rubio and Cruz is why other Hispanics distrust and hate Cubans, because of people like Rubio, Cruz, and Menendez.
Well, we have learned a lesson. And no matter how much ass kissing that they do,
you're not going to get it. As a matter of fact, you just sold your soul for what? For nothing. As a matter of fact, you're going to be thrown under the bus.
Okay. And I guess Marjorie Green is learning that lesson. Pam Bondi is about to learn that lesson.
The hard way.
Kristi Noem is about to learn that lesson.
And we know that Stephen Miller is definitely going to learn that lesson. And you know who else is going to learn that lesson? Robert F. Kennedy Jr.
I think they're all going to go down.
They're all going to go down. But it's going to, but a whole bunch of, even when a whole bunch of people go down, we're all going to suffer for 50 to 100 years because of that legacy with it.
And on that note,
we are out of here. Do not be a Maria Machado.
And who do you think has been the ass kisser of the century during this period? Well, during this moment in time, who's the biggest ass kisser?
The biggest ass kisser is also not just Clarence Thomas, but also black conservatives that have also been the biggest ass kissers too. The biggest traitors, like not just Clarence Thomas, but Representative Wesley Hunt that's running for the Senate. Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina. Representative Byron Dinos that's Jamaican that's running for governor.
So,
And all the other black conservatives, Stephen A. Smith, all the black conservatives that were also ass kissers, and you didn't even get a job in the administration.
okay. So, if you like this video,
If you like the truth, subscribe to the Truth in Facts.
all right. And I like that better. If you want the truth, and you know the truth is hard on people. And you know what's hard on people? And what's their kryptonite? Factual information and documentation is hard on the MAGA move and Republicans because they can't hear that. They can't hear it. And a lot of them have been participants in the Epstein file.
Let me tell you how many people that are in the Epstein file. Over 800 Republicans. 800 Republicans are in the Epstein files. 800 of them, including Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, Rep. Jim Jordan, that's always been a cover-up, always been a sexual predator cover-up as well. And Andy Biggs. 800 Republican officials have been there. I wonder...
But we're going to get out of here. But who's Andy Biggs?
Andy Biggs is a congressman from Arizona that was a former Senate president that is running for governor against Governor Kate Hobbs.
Okay. And so he's in the files too.
Yes, he's in the files as well. He's likely to be the Republican nominee for governor.
Ooh, they got some people. But on that note, once again, if you want to hear the what?
If you want to hear the truth, subscribe to this channel, and we are out for this vlog.
All righty.